Ninjago's been through a lot of change, and some of that started back in 2016, which was when the Hageman brothers took a temporary leave from the show to focus on Troll Hunters, making David Shane Ninjago's head writer for the next year. Part 5 will focus on the effect of this change, as well as Day of the Departed and Season 7. In March, a photo surfaced for what seemed to be the Season 7 poster, and it showed Cole fighting off old villains as well as Sensei Yang. Soon after, a second poster showed up that said "Close the Circle," and people were very hyped about this. Some speculated Close the Circle could indicate the end of the series, however most were excited for two things: a Cole season and seeing villains who had been gone for years. At the time, this was believed to be Season 7, Rise of the Villains. But 2016's Comic-Con proved this wouldn't be the case. The LEGO Ninjago movie was pushed back a year to 2017, and Season 7 was cut to a Halloween special to fill up the year's second half. Some elements of Rise of the Villains are still in the sets, such as the Nelson minifigure, but anyways, the Day of the Departed opening scene was revealed and the real Season 7, Hands of Time, was confirmed at Comic-Con. People were still really hyped, however, and in October the special was released. Unfortunately, all that hype turned to disappointment. The special was very rushed, cramming the return of 7 villains into basically 2 episodes. Cole was cheated out of a season, and Yang, who was liked in Season 5, became a generic villain. These are just a few of the many complaints people had. This special isn't as hated now, but it's still one of the most disliked installments. There were several reasons why it failed. The format was one, but there was also the writing. Although would it really be fair to judge Shade for a special that was doomed to fail, Season 7 would hopefully be better. In March of 2017, Hands of Time started to air in Canada, and not long after in May it arrived in the USA. Unfortunately, the reception for this season wasn't great. The animation was noticeably different than past seasons, but there was a slew of other issues as well. The writing was different, and that makes sense given the change in writers. The season seemed more childish in a way, and the villains weren't the strongest. At the time, this might have been the show's most disliked season. However, it left off with a cliffhanger with Wu lost in time, and most expected Season 8 would continue the story, although in the end it didn't. But the summer of 2017 was a very interesting period, as it started the transition to the new Ninjago that came the following year. To start with, there was the recasting of Lloyd with Samuel Vincent, and there was also that year's very controversial Comic-Con, which will be discussed in the next part. But most importantly was the build-up to the LEGO Ninjago movie, with new trailers being released and more marketing. 2017 and Season 7 closed off Ninjago's first phase. The next year had the redesigns, while 2019 had a brand new series. And this first phase ended in a very odd way, to say the least. It ended with 2 of the show's most disliked installments, but it was ultimately 2017's second half and the movie that would prove to have the greatest impact.